So what if I told you that Subaru was always supposed to be part of this big gigantic plan? You'd say yes, that's obviously true, but what if I told you Subaru was always from this world in which he was brought into? He was never even necessarily supposed to leave, at least by his own will. Now, I want to start this off by saying Subaru is a very interesting character, and the way he got brought there is interesting, and the power in which he received after being brought there was even more interesting. Now, the Return by Death is really not Subaru's blessing in disguise. It's not. It's someone else's. Someone obviously gave him this power because they knew if he were to come to this world, there's no way he would be able to do what they wanted in one go. There's just no way. They knew that he would die. Now, the other side of this coin is, what about Subaru's magic? What about Subaru's magic? Now, this is a really interesting thing. So, you would assume someone who's not from this world would not have mana. You just would not assume that. It's kind of like Dragon Ball Z in a sense. If you're not a Super Saiyan, you really not most people can do what they do, obviously. Now, a lot of shows have that to where if you're not from this world, you don't have that power. Now, Subaru does have that power. He uses what the attack is called Shamik, I believe. I'll probably mispronounce that, but still. Now, Shamik. So Subaru obviously has mana. So that brings to my attention, is Subaru from this world once again? It just adds up, and it doesn't make any sense. How is he able to use his powers if he's not even supposed to be from this world? Now, the next thing is, Betelgeuse asked a very interesting question, and we all can just assume that Subaru is Pride. Betelgeuse even asked, I wonder, are you Pride? And we see how prideful Subaru is, and it makes sense. If he was Pride, it would really make sense, because his attitude, his persona, is lined up perfectly with that sin. Now, the other question of this is, he has the stench of the witch, and at the same time he calls him Pride and says he's loved by the witch. And all these people who love the witch and worship her, they have the stench of the witch too. They smell like it, but he smells like it extremely strong. Now that leads me into the third thing. What if gluttony? Gluttony eats memories. Because we can assume Betelgeuse is the lowest bishop. I've heard that he's the weakest bishop. So I'm sure the stronger the bishop, the more connection they have with the witch, So I would not be surprised if archbishops actually were friends with the witch, the very high ones, maybe like the strongest kind of archbishops, like Greed, things like that. Now, my next question is, if Subaru is technically a bishop, how was he in another world? How did he become a bishop when he wasn't even part of this world, when he wasn't even born into this world? Now, given I am anime only, so no spoilers down in the comments below, but if you do happen to put a spoiler, be sure to hit enter, then, yeah, hit spoiler, then press enter so no one sees that. So, how would he be a bishop if he's not even from this world? And once again, that correlates, how does he have power to begin with? Now, my last thing is, what about gluttony? What if gluttony were to eat Subaru's memories? Because we know he feeds on memories. So what if he were to have eaten Subaru's memories, and then the witch had him send him to this other world? Because maybe Subaru was a totally different person. He had a totally different persona to begin with. Maybe he truly was Pride, but since his memories got eaten, he was no longer the same person which he was. So what is Subaru? What if I told you Subaru Nagasaki was always from this world?